Hello and welcome. I have to admit that some of my viewers asked me if I'm going to play Next War Iran on my channel. I always said no. Why? It's not like I'm not interested in this game. Well, I love this series and I have most of the games of the series, but my problem was that Next War Iran was quite big game and it wasn't fitting for my table. And so it made no sense for me to get the game that I can't play. But, you know, I like the series, so I wanted to try. So I get the game right in the good moment, about 2-3 weeks before war between Israel and Iran started. But still, I get the game and I set up and I found that my table said no. It was too long. So I wanted to play this, so I have to find a way. And I found it. Some of you may call it blasphemy, because the way that I found, well, it might be problematic for some people. Let me show you. I had to cut the boards and fit them for my table. So now they look like this now. This might be an option for some of you who can't get the game on their table because of the length. But I think that's the only option for me to play, and I was determined to play, because I am not kind of collector. I'm not someone who gets the game, put it on his shelf and says, wow, I have a game. And this game stays there forever. I want to play my games. So that's how it started. I get my copy and I'm going to make a couple of videos about it. I already made a couple of videos in Polish, so now I'm starting my next series in English. This game is a bit different from the previous Next War games. I played them all, save to Next War India-Pakistan. I had a bad luck with getting this game, never had a chance to purchase it. And why it is different? Well, if you played the previous games, you will find that allies are mostly defending in them. But here, allies are active side, they are attacking. And if you played games like Next War Korea or Next War Poland, you may remember these games as massive war games with a lot of heavy units on both sides. Here we have something completely different. We have one big army, Iranian army. Well, this army has about 11 million men, so it is huge, but it is poorly armed, not very well equipped, and so on. On the other side, we have elite forces of the USA and some NATO countries. So they are often great, they have always great troop quality, but their own strength isn't very impressive. In fact, NATO forces have to rely heavy on their support. Naval support, air support, missile support, etc. etc. This makes this game quite different from the other games of the series, but I think this is where this game shines. Because it is not like often in the World War II games, when you get the game of the series and you find, well, the same story, only different units. No, every Next War game is different cup of tea, and this one is no exception. So, today I'm going to start with the first scenario of the series, which is called Queshm if you can. This scenario focuses on the island of Queshm, which is here, and on the USA Army attempt to seize the island. This island might be a good platform for the further attacks on the Iranian installation in the main country. We are playing on this board and that board. Yeah, I know there will be a lot of camera moving in this video because I have to move here and there. We have a lot of naval movement, but from the other hand, please notice that strategic display in this game is very small. If you would compare this with strategic displays from Next War Vietnam or Next War Taiwan, you will find that this one is very small. It has only 2 at-sea zones and 2 inshore boxes, so nothing really impressive. Okay, but as for this scenario, to win the scenario, American player has to control this island. By control, we mean to size all the towns, city, and make sure that there are no enemy units in any of them. We have 4 turns to make it, and first 3 turns are initiative turns, and first 2 turns are initiative turns, and third turn is the turn where player that controls most of the island has initiative, and the last turn is contested. Okay, so first of all, this scenario is not starting with first phase of the first turn, but it starts in the 6th phase of the initiative air naval warfare. If it is your first adventure with Next War series, that's great. I think this game is one of the best when it comes to the starters. It is not as huge as Korea or Poland, and it is not as complex as Taiwan. So if you want to start your adventure with Next War series, probably the best one would be India-Pakistan, but this one should be also quite cool. Okay, so for this scenario, weather is fine in the first turn, and the season is wet. Season is wet, and this means that we will face some problems when it comes to the weather rolls. It is a higher chance for the weather to be overcast, and it might affect our actions. So we are skipping weather phase and supply phase. A supply stuff is optional, and I'm not going to use it for the purpose of this scenario. And we are moving into initiative air naval phase. We are skipping first 5 steps, and we are moving right into 6th phase, conduct strikes. Now we have something new, because in the previous games, air strikes were only available when you played with advanced rules. This scenario is played with standard rules, and this is the first game of the series where strikes are also available in the standard game. And in the standard game they are very limited. You cannot perform strikes versus enemy units, versus enemy installations, etc. There are only 2 options for you to perform strikes against. This means enemy patrol boat tracks and enemy missile launchers. There are no missile launchers in this particular scenario, so we can make our attacks versus enemy patrol boat tracks. In this scenario, NATO player has 7 strike points, and already I can tell you that this is a mistake. Why a mistake? Because you can spend only 6 points on single strike, and there is only one target in this scenario. According to author, originally they meant to use missile launchers in this scenario as well, but they decided otherwise, and that's why there are 7 strike points. There should be 6 instead, so if you are going to play this scenario, feel free to change it from 7 to 6. So, NATO player, or rather should I say USA player, has 6 strike points. So he makes a roll and chooses his target. So I'm going to choose this Persian Gulf patrol boat track, trying to reduce the number of these patrol boats, sea drones, etc., to make my sea movement and sea control easier. And how to make it? You are making D10 roll, and if you will get a proper result, you might reduce the number of the patrol boats by 1 level, and to hit, you need to roll the number which is equal or less than the number of your strike points. if you will roll the number which is twice lower than the number of your strike points, you can move it by 2. So let me roll. That's 5. So it is less than 6, but not twice less than 6. So I'm moving this patrol boat track by 1. So it is still available and it still can affect our sea actions. So that's all for the strike phase, and we are now going into air superiority level. In this scenario, air superiority is fixed. It means you don't roll for the random number of your air points, but you have this number given by scenario. So in this scenario, in the first turn, allied player has 8 points and non-allied player has 4 points, and air superiority is on the superiority level. Okay, so that's all. We conducted strikes. Now we need to roll for sea control. And this is one of the things that people often found complicated in the Next War series. I have to admit that I had problems with this as well. In this game, it should be easier because we have a very small number of sea zones. And now, Indian Ocean sea zone is always controlled by allied player. This flag tells us that you don't roll for Indian Ocean. Same goes for Diego Garcia, of course, but it is holding box, so we don't care about it. And now, Persian Gulf starts always as non-allied control, and same goes to these two inshore boxes. Gulf of Oman starts as enemy, as contested, so no one controls it at the beginning of the game, but we have a couple of sea groups of the allied player there. So now we need to make rolls for these all these 4 zones to see who is going to control them now. We are always rolling for inshore boxes first and then for sea zones. So let's start with Persian Gulf inshore. I'm going to make a roll. Ooh, that's 9, so that's a high roll. And now we have to add modifiers. There are no ships in this zone, so no effect. Now, next we have to check for the subthreat level. It is on the level of 2. So this is -2, so we are moving that down to 7. And next, there is no submarine warfare. No. Next, superiority or supremacy. There is +1 for air superiority, allied air superiority, so it's 8. And now we have -1 because Persian Gulf patrol boat track is on the level 1. So it is total number of 7. And 7 is higher than 6, so this Persian Gulf is now allied control. That's pretty strange, but well, remember that US forces have their air superiority, so probably American planes are flying all over and hitting everything that tries to sail there. Next, let's roll for the Gulf of Oman inshore. It's 5. Okay, so it might be a different thing. No ships there. Next, -2 for the subthreat level, so it's 3. +1 for the allied air superiority. And there are no patrol boats because Gulf of Oman patrol boat track is on level of 0, so the level is 4. 3-5 means that this one is contested, so no one's control it. Now let's roll for the sea zones. First for the Gulf of Oman. It's 2. Okay, this might be interesting. Now there is +1 for surface action group, so it's 3. There is +2 for each nuclear carrier group. We have 2, so it's plus 4, so it's going to be 7. Next, minus 2 for the subthreat level, so 5, plus 1 for the air superiority, so it is 6. So the total number is 6, and if we have 6 or more, it is Allied control. So sea zone of Gulf of Oman is now Allied control. Sorry, yeah. And now let's roll for the Persian Gulf sea zone. It is 9, and now no ships, so no modifiers, minus 2 for subthreat level, plus 1 for air superiority, so it's 8, so it is also Allied control. So that was a series of great rolls, because now American forces control most of the sea zones and inshore boxes on the strategic display. That was pretty lucky for them, because now they have free hand to move around without facing problems of being made to roll for the contested sea movement every time they try these zones. And now I would like you to notice two important things. First of all, I used patrol boats modifier for the Gulf of Oman and Persian Gulf inshore boxes only. These are not working for the Persian Gulf or Gulf of Oman at sea zones. The second thing, which is quite important to remember and easy to forget, is that once Allied player gains control of the Persian Gulf or Gulf of Oman at sea zones, it remains Allied controlled until the end of the game. Long story short, non-Allied side can't get these sea zones back. But inshore boxes might change their control. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the sea stuff. And next, this is both sides roll for mine clearance. But it also says not in the game turn 1. So we can't roll for these two minefields. And this might be a problem, because they are going to affect our possible sea move heavy. But well, it is not school travel after all. Okay, so that's all for the Initiative A naval phase, and we are moving into Initiative movement and combat phase. This phase is played only if one side has initiative. If neither side has initiative in the turn, this phase is skipped. So, in the turn 1, Allied player has units of 82 division in the one of the holding boxes of his choice. You can choose one of these holding boxes as you like, but I decided for United Arab Emirates holding box because it is very close to the Queshm, so my units there will be able to move to Queshm easily. Okay, so let's start with them. Please notice that each of these units has its movement value in the black background. This means that this is air mobile capable unit. So you can spend your air mobile points to move it. And we have 4 air mobile points. This means that we can spend 4 of them for our air mobile movement in the single phase. So I have 4 units. Each of them has a stacking value of 1. So I have to spend 1 air mobile point to move it. Long story short, I can spend my 4 air mobile points to move each of them with air mobile movement. That's pretty good. But of course, it's not going to be easy. Let's start with 1st Brigade, 82nd all its way, like Sabaton said, and I'm placing them in the United Arab Emirates hex on this board, and now you can see 9 MP. What it means? This means that this air mobile transport all spends 9 movement points to move onto this hex. And starting with this movement, with this hex, it starts its movement with 9 minus movement points already spent. air mobile movement allows you to move by 24 movement points. That's pretty big. But, like I said, minus 9 here. So 24 minus 9, this is 17. Right? Nope, no, sorry. Math was never my strongest side. So 24 minus 9, yeah, that's 15. Yeah, 15. Okay, so now 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. And I want to land here. Why here? Because this hex is probably the most important hex in the entire scenario and one of the most important hexes in the game. You will soon see why. I'm not going to talk about it now. Let's focus on our air mobile movement. And now, when I'm landing here, I need to make a roll for enemy anti-air fire, because there is a chance that they will hit us and force our helicopters to fly away or even hit some of these helicopters. So we need to make a roll for enemy defense in the standard game air defense fire table when flying side has superiority. Superiority. I need to make sure, but I think we have superiority in this scenario. I don't want to make a mistake, you know. Yeah, good, superiority. Okay, so 0 or less means that our movement will be aborted. There is not chance that we are going to be hit and damaged, because only a result with an asterisk means that we suffer losses, but we still can't be forced to fly away without unloading our troops. And now let me make a roll to see what's going on. Oh wow, that's 2. No good, because we want to roll as high as possible. Looks like we failed. How, you ask? We rolled 2, so it should be fine. No, it's not. Because that's where modifiers come in effect. First of all, we are landing adjacent to the enemy mechanized unit. So there is -1. So we are already in 1. Next, we are landing in the 2 hexes from enemy airfield or installation. Let us see. Yeah, here is enemy airfield. So this is -2. So we have from 1, we are going to the -1. In the air superiority, -1 says abort -1. What it means? Abort means that our movement is aborted. They are returning to the holding box without being able to do anything. It's not starting very good. -1 means that if there would be an air mission by our planes, then we would have to lower our air capability by 1 point during this mission. But nothing like this here. We only failed to land. Of course, I'm not going to make it like this, because I have 3 more air mobile brigades and let them try to do the same. Now this one. It was 9, 10, 11, 12, 13, 14, 15. They are also trying to land here, and again I need to make a roll to see if they will land safely or they will be driven away by this nasty and surprisingly effective enemy air defense. That's 5. -1 for enemy mechanized unit, -2 for enemy airfield, so it's 2. So yes, we landed fine. Okay. A last brigade for 82. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. Okay. And again, roll. Oh, say, can you see? Looks like you can't. Okay. So the last brigade, and please guys, please, you can do it. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. And the moment of truth. 6. Okay, they made it. So I wanted to have 4 brigades there, and now I have only 2. It's not starting well. Okay, that's all for the movement phase for our ground units, or should I say air mobile units. And now we are moving to our naval movement. I have a big group of naval units here. 2 carrier groups, 1 surface action group, and 1 transport group. They want to go into the Persian Gulf. That's pretty. That's where I wanted them to be, but they have to cross Strait of Hormuz, and the Strait of Hormuz contains a lot of mines that are going to affect our movement. So, any naval unit that makes a movement through, or any naval transport that makes a movement through the Strait of Hormuz has to make contested sea movement roll as long as there are mines here. So let me make a roll to see if it was. That's 3, so not bad. And now let me check for modifiers. We have +2 for the 2 mines, so that's 5. We have -1 because we have carrier group, so that's 4. And there are no enemy, we have no modifiers for air superiority, only for air supremacy. And there is also +2 for submarine level threat, so that's 6. This means sea movement aborted, so we cannot move through. Next, I'm going to move this surface action group into Gulf of Oman inshore box. It is also contested, it is not controlled, so I need to make a roll for contested sea movement. That's 5. And now, this is a SAC, so -1, that's 4. Next, inshore box is friendly controlled, no. Submarine threat is 2, so it's 6. Iranian patrol boat is 0, so this is 6. And also, -1 for each surface action group or carrier group in associated at sea zone. No one's here, so that's 6. Also, sea movement aborted, so nope. Next, I'm going to move this carrier group here. I'm trying to move it here. Let me roll again. Oh great, that's 1. So I think we made it. Let me check. -1 for they moving, so it's 0. Now +2 for mines, so that's 2. +2 for submarine level threat, so it's 4. So yeah, we need 5 or less, so we made it. So this carrier group is here, and now it doesn't have to make another contested sea movement because Persian Gulf is Allied controlled. That's great. And now my transport group. Do I want to cross the Strait of Hormuz with them? This is risky because they are carrying a couple of American Marines battalions, and if they will get 9 or more, then we will have to take 1 step loss among our transported units. So that's quite a risky action, something I am not sure if I want to do, because if I will fail, I will suffer losses, and I have a limited number of units available. No, I'm not going to play risky. I want to keep them safe. So no naval movement now for them, or maybe, oh come on, let's do it. Let's do it. Well, we will see how it's going to be. It's 3. Okay, so I think this means that our sea movement is aborted, but we suffer no losses. Let me see. 3 +2 for minefields, that's 5. And +2 for submarine level threat, 7. So no, we are our sea movement is aborted, but we take no losses. Okay, so that's all for our naval movement. And now let's return onto operational board because this ends our movement phase, and we are now going into combat segment. In combat segment, we can attack enemy units that are adjacent to our units. We don't have to. This is our choice if we want to attack or not. But I want to. I mentioned before that this hex is one of the most important hexes on the board. Why? Please notice this dotted line that links these two sides. This dotted line means that you can transfer your land units between main body of Iran and Queshm Island. I think this is pretty strange because this is quite a long way to go, but I assume that Iran has a lot of transport units gathered there, so they can transfer units from this side to that side. Anyway, holding this hex is probably the most important thing if you want to capture this island, because this is the only way for Iran to transfer their non-air mobile units onto island. So I will try to destroy this mechanized brigade or make it suffer enough losses to be able to capture this this hex in the next segment. So let us do our first combat. First we need to check for our strength. We have 6 versus 8. Why? Each attacking unit has an attack value of 3, while defending unit has defense value of 8. This means that this is 6 to 8, so we'll be checking for the result in the 1 to 2 column in the flat or flatwoods verse, because this is a flat hex. So we know where we are going to check for the roll when it comes to the basics, but now we need to make shifts, because there are always some shifts. Our main attacking force will be this brigade. Its combat efficiency is 7. Defenders' combat efficiency is 5. So this is 7 versus 5. So this is plus 2. This means we are shifting our column by 2, from 1 to 2 into 1.5 to 1. So that's good for the attacker. So that's all for the combat shift, for the column shifts, because we don't have any other column shifts here. And now we need to check for die roll modifiers. There will be a couple of them. And now let's start. First, attacking player declares how many air points he wants to spend to support his attack. He may gather maximum of 6 points from air, helicopters or naval. I'm going to say that I will spend 2 air points, so I need to make a roll for the enemy air defense to see if these air points will be able to reach us. Yeah, we can. Why? This is 6, and now let me find table. Standard game air defense, we are still in air superiority, we rolled 6, and we have -1 for enemy mechanized unit, -2 for airfield, so it's -3. We have 6. 6 minus 3 is 3, so no effect. We have -2 in favor of the attacker. Next thing I'm going to do is to call for my division combat helicopters. Let me see if I can. They are basing in the United Arab Emirates, so they have 16 movement points and they need to spend 9 movement points. So this means they have 7 movement points. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. Yeah, they can. So we can use them. We can use them twice per turn. So this is the first use, and they will be flipped like this. And now I need to make a roll for enemy air defense as well. Nope. This is 1, and you can already remember that we have -3. So yes, this is a miss. Enemy air defense was effective, and these helicopters cannot support us. It's not starting very good. Now, that's all for our AO support. Now Iran. Iran also calls for AO support. They have 4 AO support for these points for this turn, so they are calling for 1. And now that's 4, and we are rolling in the column where firing side has AO superiority, so it is 4. There are no modifiers here, so A-bot -1. -1 means that we are losing one of these points, not permanently, just for this combat. We spent 1 movement point, so no effect. And finally, my combat helicopters. I have 2 of them, one of them here, one of them there, so I will call for their support. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, okay, they are in the range. So now let me roll. No, that's a no. I feel sorry for these poor pilots. These are, I think these are Cobras actually. So it was 1 in the AO superiority. There is an asterisk. This means that attacking side, so flying side, takes 1 loss. And sadly, these Hueys or Cobras, I think Cobras, yeah, take 1 loss, and they have only 1 step, so they are dead. So they are boom, falling down into the sea, or should I say Persian Gulf. Okay, so that's all for our AO support, and now we need to check for other modifiers. What are the other modifiers? There are many possibilities to get die roll modifiers, but for this particular combat we care about 1. Enemy is in the town. When enemy is in the town, you get the +1 in favor of the defender. So there was +2, and now we are going to +1 because of the town. You may ask about one more thing. Please notice that American units are from the 2 different formations because color of their icons are different. And normally, this modifier is applied. So when you are attacking with more than 1 formation, you get negative modifier for each formation in combat. So for example, normally there would be negative modifier of +1 for Americans here. But we have per additional formation in multi-formation attack does not apply to NATO. So, since American forces are part of the NATO, this modifier is not in effect, so we don't get negative modifier here. So, that would be all for our modifiers. We have total modifiers of -1 in favor of the attacker, and we are making D10 roll to see how effective this attack will be. That's 4. -1, it is 3. This says -1, 1 and 1, 1 and error. What it means? First, each side takes 1 loss, and as for attacker, he has to take loss from the unit that was chosen as the main body of the attacking side, so this brigade. Next, defender takes 1 loss, and this means this brigade also takes 1 loss. And next, there was error. This means that defender has to retreat 1 or 2 hexes, depending on the terrain where it was. And it was on the clear terrain, so this means that this unit has to retreat 2 hexes. And how it must retreat? First of all, I cannot retreat through the dotted line, because only light infantry units can retreat through this dotted line, and this is mechanized unit. So this most logical option is not available for us. So the only possible retreat route would be here. You cannot retreat through the enemy zone of control but none of this brigade hasn't hasn't a zone of control. Why? Because its stacking value is 1, and only units with stacking value of 2 or more, or the stacks with such a value, might create zone of control. So this hex is free to evacuate, so that's 1 and 2. And now Americans are allowed to take this hex. That's good, right? The problem is that there is a town here and an airfield, so it has to be cleared before we will be able to use it. And now I need to draw random counter of the from the cup that contains clearing markers, put it with this side on here, and now they will be made to clear this hex. And only cleared hexes can be considered controlled by the player. So that's all for American combat segment. Sorry, these are called segment, nor phases. And now we are moving into next segment. This segment is called Elite Reaction Movement segment. And now a non-allied player may move his units, but only those with 6, 7 or 8 efficiency. In fact, we have only a few units with such a value, like for example this airmobile brigade, but the problem is that airmobile, sea movement and sea transport are not allowed. So I cannot call for my combat helicopters and transport this brigade here. That's not an option, and that sucks. Really, because airmobile transport is the best way for an Iranian player to transfer his units on Queshm. Okay, and any other units. Please notice that this airmobile brigade and this airmobile brigade also has combat efficiency of 6. So they can move. But even if they would move, they can't attack. Yes, they can simply move. They cannot attack in this phase segment. Yeah, like I said, I tend to mistake phase and segment words here. So I think I'm not going to do anything here. I'm simply waiting for American actions. So we are moving into Exploitation movement segment. In this segment, American player is allowed to move his units just like he did in the previous movement segment, but there is one important limitation here. You cannot move your units that are in the enemy zones of control. So if any of your unit is in enemy zone of control, it can't move. Luckily, none of our units are in enemy zone of control. Yes, they aren't too, because this crossing arrow is not allowing us to make zone of control. How to tell it? It's quite simple. Please notice that in the terrain effects chart there is zone of control in such a red circle here. If there is a red circle with zone of control abbreviation with terrain, this means that this terrain is not allowing to create zone of control. So they are technically not in a zone of control of this Iranian brigade. Okay, so we can now make a movement with our American forces. Let's start with our land units. We have 2 brigades on Queshm and 2 of them in our holding box waiting to be used. We already spent 4 airmobile points, so we can't spend more of them because airmobile points are limited for the entire turn. So our boys are going to wait in the holding box until the next turn? No way. We can still transfer them on the Queshm with good old paradrop. How to make it? We have to use our air transport points. At last we have yeah, we have 2 of them here. That's enough, and we can transfer these units on Queshm with air transfer performing good old paradrop. So they are going to paradrop here, and they are going to paradrop there. Now I need to make a rolls to see if they reached the island safely and if enemy air defense is not affecting them. Let's start with them. No enemy mechanized units around, no enemy airfield in the 2 hexes range, nothing. So let us make a roll. 3. That's fine. They landed safely. Their transport flew there safely. And now I need to make a roll in the paradrop table to see if there weren't any losses during the paradrop. They are landing in the clear terrain, so this is flat. So only if I will roll 9, they will take a loss. I rolled 1, so they are fine. They landed safely. And now them, air defense, they are fine. And paradrop, they are fine. So both of these brigades flew there safely and made their air landing without any problems. That's good. Finally, we have 4 brigades here, and that should be enough to size the island. Let's hope so. Okay, so that's all when it comes to the stuff. Oh, and sorry, I made one mistake here. Why? I don't have to place a clearing marker here because this is a town and airfield. And you don't have to make a clearing for town. You have only to make a clearing for the city, urban hex, installation, or naval SSM marker. And airfield is not installation. This is something that you can make a mistake very easily, but please remember, I made this mistake here as well, airfield is not an installation. So the only thing I have to do is to place pending control marker. If this marker will remain here until the end of the turn, this town and airfield will be controlled by Americans. And so I should do here in the Chahu Shargi town, and they are not in the town. Okay, so that's all for American land movement, where air movement to be more precise. And now let's go to our naval units, because we have some naval units to move as well. So what I'm going to do now, this surface action group tries to go into the inshore box. Let's see if they can. 7? I'm not sure. Let me check for contested sea movement. Now, they are SAG, so they have +1, so it's 8. There are no enemy patrol boats, but it is -2 for enemy submarines, so that's 6. And 6, this is contested sea movement aborted. So they are coming back here, no good. Now, this carrier group moves here into Persian Gulf inshore box. They can do so because it is American controlled, so I don't have to make a roll for contested sea movement. Now they are trying to cross the Strait of Hormuz. Oh, sorry, I rolled 4. I think it is not enough. Let me see. +2 for 2 minefields, so it's 6. And +2 for submarine threat, that's 8. -1 for our group, so that's 7. So 6-8 sea movement aborted. And they are not going to move because I don't want to risk losses among my marine units. So that's all for the naval movement. And now let me check here. I think I'm not going to attack anywhere. No, I'm not making any attacks, so we can skip combat segment, and we are moving to the reaction movement segment. In the reaction movement segment, non-allied player may move all his units. So let's carry on with our Iranian forces, and what I'm going to do. This brigade suffered losses and its quality is pretty low, it's 4, but still let them try. They are going to make their attack here. And the next thing is, I have 4 air mobile points, so I'm spending 1 to move this brigade here. Let me try. Die roll. 7. I think I made it. Let me see. Enemy has air superiority. 7, 8. There are no enemy naval units around. Airfield is controlled. So yeah, they are landing here safely. That's good. So that was our first air mobile point. I'm going to spend another air mobile point for this brigade. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9, and 4 aboard. So that was a failure. Now these two, please notice that each of them has only half of stacking point, so I can spend 1 movement point to transfer both of them, and I want to spend my air mobile point to transfer them here. Let me see if I can, and that's 0. And yes, in this game 0 means 0. In some of war games, when you roll 0, this means that you rolled 10 actually, but not here, and that's quite unfortunate. 0 means aboard, -3, and the asterisk. This means that one of these units is eliminated and the other one returns where it was. So we spent our 3 air mobile points. We still have 1. But I don't have any air mobile units available on the outside of island, so I'm not making this. I still have 1 air mobile points available, so now I can move my units that are here. So this division goes here. These mechanized brigades are useless now because they cannot attack through this dotted line. Only leg units can do it. Well, I have a single battalion here, but I'm not going to use them anywhere. So that's all here. Let them protect this city. Let them cover this landing, this beach. So, or maybe. No, I will take my risk and I'm going to attack with them together here. So they are both revolutionary guards because of the red counters, and they are going to make their attack versus Americans. Okay, so now that's all for the movement. Let's carry on with a non-allied combat segment. And now they are both attacking here. Let me check for their strength. 3 and 4. But please notice, this is mechanized unit that attacks enemy in the open ground. This means that it has no 4 but 6. So this is 6 plus 3, 9 versus 2. This is 4 to 1. So where did I have my combat table? Yeah, that's here. So this is 4 to 1. And column shifts. Americans have combat efficiency of 6, and this one is going to be a leading force. So 6 minus 4, that's 2. So we are shifting 2 in favor of the defender. So that's going to be 2 to 1. And now let us check for die roll modifiers. We are starting with air support. Americans are calling for 3 points. They had 6, so now they are going to have a 3. And let me roll. That's 9. So perfectly. they have -3. And now Iranians are calling for 2 air support points. They had 3, so now they have 1 and 0. This is abort -3. Sorry, abort -2. So they spent they had 4 and spent 3. No, and they spent 2. So no points. They can't get any support. Americans are calling for the combat helicopters from United Arabian Emirates holding box. 8. It's -1 for enemy mechanized unit on the adjacent hex, but that's still fine. We get 2 for them, and let me show you, I am marking them like that, so I cannot use them anymore in this turn. Now, that's all when it comes to the air support. And next, any other combat modifiers. They are defending in the town, so that's +1, sorry, -1. They are the same formation. Please notice they have a blue icons, so these are not different formations. And one more thing I forgot about. There was 9 versus 2. Yes, so that was not the round number, because a round number would be 8 versus 2, and it would be 4 to 1. So we get 1 which is used as a reminder surplus in the initial odd calculations. So there is +1. Sorry, there is -1 in favor of the defender. So now Americans have +5, because you know, when you are attacking you want to have your result as low as possible. When you are defending you want your result as high as possible. So this is plus for the defender and minus for the attacker. So now we have +5, and that's our final die roll modifiers, and we are making a roll to see 2 plus 5, it's 7. So this is 7. It is 1, 2. What it means? Defender takes 1 loss, so they are dead. Attacker takes 2 losses. They were the one, they were a leading force, so they take 1 loss, and they also take 1 loss. So this brigade is also eliminated, and since Americans were eliminated, this infantry brigade might take this hex and remove pending control marker. Okay, that's all for the reaction combat segment, and this is the end of the initiative, movement and combat phase. We are moving into basic movement and combat phase. This phase is played every time during the turn, no matter if it's initiative turn or not. It is played every time, and in this phase we have 4 segments. Movement segment and combat segment for initiative player, and movement segment and combat segment for non-initiative player. So we are starting with initiative player combat segment. This means American player. So Americans are moving, and here and there they are going to stay here, and that's all for our land forces. And let's go to our naval forces. Again, I'm trying to enter the Gulf of Oman. It was 9, yeah. Wish I could change it, but looks like I'm not. Let me see. So it is -1, so it's 8 because of the surface action group, and +2 because of the submarine level threat, so it's 10. This means that sea movement is aborted. Okay, now they are moving. They can move on the board if they want to. The question is if I want them to move. If from the other hand, I want them to stay here and protect this Persian Gulf inshore box. I think that's what they are going to do. Now, they are trying to cross Strait of Hormuz too. They made it. So they are moving into Persian Gulf sea zone. And this group is going to wait because I don't want them to suffer some losses from Strait of Hormuz minefields. I hope that in the next turn, these minefields will be reduced, and then my transport group will be able to move. Okay, that's all for the sea movement for Americans, and now we can go into combat phase. So I'm attacking here. I have 6 versus 2. So that's 3-1. Now, oh, sorry, wrong table. That's 3-1, but they are defending in the roof terrain. So we'll be using this verse. And now we have 7. This one is going to be a leading force. 7 versus 6. So that's +1. So our final odds are 4-1. Now let's check for the die roll modifiers. Americans still have 3 air points, and they are going to spend 2 of them. So I will make a roll. That's 5. No modifiers around, so we have -2. I have no combat helicopters anymore because I spent all of them. And now I have -1 for the light infantry attacking in the non-flat woods city terrain. Yes, they are light infantry because of the yellow movement ability, so this is -1 for them. Now Iran has 1 air point left, so they are spending it. That's 4, and this is in the air superiority. This is A-boat -1, so now I can't use it. And this is light infantry defending in the non-flat, non-city woods terrain. So this is also +1 for the defender. So final modifiers are -2. Let me roll. That's 7 -2, that's 5. -1, -2. This means that the attacker takes 1 loss and the defender takes 2 losses. So this brigade is eliminated and I can take this hex. I wasn't attacking here. It would be pointless and would probably and there is a chance that I would suffer losses. That's something I would rather like to avoid here. Okay, so that's all for the Americans, and now Iranians are able to strike back. So what are they going to do? Let's start here. I will try to transfer this airmobile brigade here. This is my last airmobile point in this turn. I'm making a roll, and I rolled 0. This means that it's abort and an asterisk. So they cannot be transferred and they take a loss. Now, they are defending this city, so that's good, but they are going to move here. I have no more airmobile points, so I cannot transfer any more units on the Queshm now. That's unfortunate. And the next thing I'm going to do is I will take my luck with submarine sortie. How it works? Iranian player may do it once per game, and this reduces his subthreat level by 1. He simply tries to do something like kamikaze style attack of his outdated submarines on American group. I am going to make sortie against this carrier group. And to make it, I have to declare it. I have to reduce their my subthreat level, and then I am making a roll to see if I was able to damage this carrier group. Sorry, I made one mistake. It is not once per game, but once per turn. So, if I will roll 0 to 5, this naval unit is damaged and it is returning to Diego Garcia. 9! Oh, 9! Like the German player would say, no effect. That's unfortunate. Okay, so that's all for submarine sortie attempt. And now I am returning here where my land units are going to try to drive Americans off this strategically important hex. Let's see if they can. I'm going to attack with them. I'm not going to attack with them because they are different formations, so they would provide me negative modifier. And that's something I would rather like to avoid. So they are attacking through this dotted line. This means that their strength is halved, rounding up. So that's 2, 5, it is 3, so 5, and 2, so it's 7. So we have 7 versus 4. This is not enough to have 2 to 1, so this is going to be 1.5 to 1. Now let me choose a leading force. This is going to be this brigade. 6 versus 7, it's -1. So we are shifting into 1 to 1. And now let us check for modifiers. Non-allied players spent all his air points. Americans still have 1. So I'm calling for this one air point. 8, this is enough. So Americans have, where did I put it? +1 in their favor. Next. No combat helicopters for Americans, and non-allied player still has 1 here. So he is going to call for their support. 3 looks bad. 3 in the air superiority. This is A-board, but luckily no asterisk, because this airfield is still not considered American, so it is not affecting air defense. So that's simply nothing, but these combat helicopters can't be used anymore. Now, that's all for the modifiers, and now we have same formation, so we don't get negative modifier for different formations. That's good. And they are defending in the town, so this is +1 for the defender. So our final modifiers are +2 in favor of the defender. That's 7 +2, it's 9. This is -1, -1. So each side takes 1 loss. This was a leading force, so it takes 1 loss. And this defending brigade also takes 1 loss. Okay, so that's all for the non-initiative player combat segment. We have no more combats to be made, and this concludes basic movement and combat phase. We are now going to the next phase, which is called reorganization phase. We have a couple of things to do. First of all, rotate all helicopters and artillery. We have no artillery in this scenario. To no missions. So they are rotated like this, and same goes with American Apache in the United Arab Emirates holding box. Next, remove air points from the game display. So they are going to be reset. And next, reset air mobile points. So they are coming back to their basic value of 4. They are here. Next, remove tunnel markers. This is only for Korea game. Conduct clearing operations. I don't see any hexes that would require clearing operations for Americans. Yeah, so now determine hex control changes. So this hex is now American controlled. This hex is also American controlled. No, nothing more to do around. Yes. And now that's all for reorganization phase. We are going to the reinforcement and replacement phase. And now let's see for reinforcements. And Iranian player gets 2 brigades in this turn, and these 2 are going to be placed in any city or airfield or airbase, so they are going to be set up here and there. Okay, American player gets no reinforcements in the turn 1. Next, replacement. We can now spend our replacement points to make our damaged units fully operational again, but no player gets replacement points in the turn 1. So that's all for the reinforcement and replacement. Victory determination phase, we have nothing to do, and this concludes turn 1 of the game. There was a lot of explanation now, so that's what made this turn quite long. Normally this particular scenario goes very fast, and when you will learn the rules you will find that you can make it very quickly. That everything about explanation the rules took me a while, but in the next part of the video we will go with the next turns and you will see they are going to be much faster. Okay, that's all for today. If you noticed any mistakes that I made, feel free to point them. I will be grateful for that, and all the players who will watch this video will be probably grateful as well. Please notice that English isn't my first language, so there can be some language mistakes that I made during this video. I'm deeply sorry for them, but still I hope this will be understandable for most of you. Thank you for watching and see you in the next parts.